Okay, this is video number 2 for the World Ninja Athlete Games for 2022. The last video was accurate, but there was a few things we were missing on the 2-point and some of the other obstacles, so we want to review it and go over the whole thing again. So you'll be using this video as your main video, and then after this we'll also have a short video with the entire run. So starting off, again, this is a World Ninja Athlete Games 2022. We're going to go over the measurements of a lot of the obstacles, which ones are 2-point, and kind of the rules, and we're going over just the adult course. So again, specific to the adult course is what I'll be talking about, but make sure you review the rules for the actual kids course to be specific. Okay, so we'll start off with obstacle number 1, and that is quintuple steps. So on the quintuple steps, a lot of questions come up with the distances. So you measure your distance like this. So this particular one is 4 feet. And if you wanted to angle your steps, that's okay. You can do that also as long as the distance is at 4 feet. And the max distance, the minimum distance, excuse me, is 16 feet. So the end of your obstacle has to be at 16 feet minimum. All right? So make sure you reach that point, and regardless of the size of your steps, as long as you're starting one end from 16 and ending on 16, when you finish, it doesn't have to be past the 16-foot point because your last step is at 16. So when you finish, you can just dismount right at that point, anywhere off that last step. All right, we'll run a sample. By the way, I wanted to show you, this is the medal that you'll be winning. All the top 3 winners win this medal in the world. So wanted to wear that just for that. So, all right, we'll start with DeAndre. And do the cat grab halfway and then the other. So you can cat grab, or you can step individually, and then you can step off anywhere. Okay, next obstacle would be the PVC roller. That has to start behind the line with both feet before you start. This is a 2-point obstacle. That's 1 point. And that is completion of 2 points. Okay? So again, start behind the line and you must finish past the line. All right? Next obstacle is the rings. Okay, I want to be kind of specific on this one. This is a silly question, but at the same time, people come up with silly questions and we're going to answer them in a silly way. This is what you cannot do on the rings. You cannot just grab each ring and stay on your feet. But we actually had that question. So to clarify, please be sure you do the obstacle as intended, and that is written out in the rules in big black letters. Use the obstacle as intended. If this obstacle is intended for you to start on one ring and swing to the next, obviously you need to swing. You can't walk or touch your feet or drag your feet, okay? So please use the obstacles as they are intended. So now we'll show you the accurate way of doing it. This has to be 60 feet in the adult course. These are set up at 6 feet apart. So he's got to go back that way and then all the way back and then to the tape. So, all right, here he goes. This is just a single 1-point obstacle, so you will have to completely go back. Now you notice when he did his transition, he had both hands on that ring before the transition. So you must put both hands on the last ring before you transition. Now he can transition because he's got both hands on there. And both hands to finish. And now he's complete. Always yell clear also, so that the athlete knows that they are clear to jump off that obstacle. So that way they don't accidentally touch it with one hand and then jump off. Make sure they do the obstacle correctly, and once you see it's done correctly, you yell clear. All right, we'll move on to the next one, which is pegboard. Okay, pegboard, this is a 2-point obstacle. So he starts at the end. So the first peg has to be at one end, and the next peg hole that's available. Then he's going to come all the way. You measure your hole to hole. So from that hole to this hole is 7 feet. So we go 7 feet, 8, that's halfway, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so this particular hole is 12. You have to have at least one peg in this and one peg past that. So as long as he's got a peg here and a peg there, that's complete. All right, go ahead. And you can skip holes if you have the ability. Okay, that's 1 point. Cleared for 1 point. Clear for 2 points. Clear. Okay, on to rope climb. Okay, our rope climb is, our roof is only 13.5, so it's shy. So once he touches that top bar, he's just under 13.5, so we brought the tape down 1.5 feet. Actually, it's a little more than that, but anyways, bring your tape down enough to where your total distance is 15 feet. So when he goes up to the top, he has to touch the top, then he must come down, both hands must come down below that line before he goes back up, touches again. That completes his total 15 feet. All right, go ahead. Both hands under, back up. Now make sure you make a safe dismount on your way down. You can jump at any point. Obviously, if you have more padding, you can jump from a higher point. Just be very, very careful and make it a safe dismount. So from that particular rope, every single run is going to be right after the rope climb. So once he finishes, go ahead and put your hands on the rope. So say as soon as he finishes that rope climb, our 100 feet, he has to touch that bar and then sprint back to the quintuple steps. So we've already gone over quintuple steps, so we'll go ahead and skip over to the balance beam. Same thing, it's a 10-foot balance beam. Has to be on a minimum 2-foot platform. So make sure it's sitting on top of that 2-foot platform. And then the dismount, again, this is the adult course, must be a minimum of 3 feet to a dismount. And we recommend you do a platform instead of just a line, just so there's no question whether they pass the line or not. If you have some type of defined platform, it's a lot easier. Go ahead. Clear. Okay, now we're on to grips. So this particular situation with grips, we have a 6-foot distance here. So he has to go to the end and to the end and then back for a full 40 feet. And then once he gets to this point, he's at halfway. Okay, so you make sure this is another obstacle where you have to mark a halfway point. All right, go ahead. Okay, he's clear for halfway, so he's got 1 point. Make sure both hands get on that grip. Now he's got 2 points. He's good. Clear. Okay, now laches. Okay, same thing. These are 2-point obstacles, excuse me. So he starts on one bar. In this particular case, he's got to go all the way down and back, and then back down to this one to make his total distance, which is 40 feet. This will be his halfway point. So again, make sure you mark your halfway points so they know if they're getting tired, they at least make it to the halfway point, they get the 1 point. All right, go ahead. And you'll show a couple different styles, the lache style, monkey bar style, and then the sideways, do that sideways hip throw thing, whatever that thing is. There you go, like that. So different styles can be used, whatever works for you. So now he's got it 1 point, he's cleared the 1 point. On the way back, do that hip lâché thing. There you go, now he's clear. All right. Okay, we already went over rope climb. Then he would do the 100-foot run, then quintuple steps. Then you go back to PVC roller again. And now we'll go back to cliffhanger. We haven't gone over that yet. So with our cliffhanger, always make sure you start with the left hand, or your hand, whichever way you're going. Make sure the hand is actually at the end of the cliffhanger. You can't start your first hand here. As long as one hand is here, the second hand could be as far as you can reach. That's okay. But the first hand has to start at the very, very end, okay? Then he's gonna complete this distance. On our cliffhanger, this is the 16-foot point right here. So you have to get past the 16 feet. So he has to get, so this, if you reach right here, that's 16 feet. So he's gotta get both hands here, so that way both hands are past the 16 feet point. On a transition like this one, again, he's gotta put his right hand on the end of this to make that transition before he goes back, okay? Okay, there he is, and then back, and then there he's complete. Now this is also a 2-point obstacle. I didn't mark it, but in this particular case, once he got here, that would be his single point. So you make it up to here. Once he cleared to the halfway point, just measure your 16 feet. Once he reaches 8 feet and gets past the 8-foot point, that would be worth 1 point, okay? So he got 1 point once he reached here. Once he got to there and finished and got up to there, then he completed his full 2 points. Okay, so then the last of it is, of course, back on the rings, then rope climb, and then again, you finish with the 100-foot run. So remember, the 100-foot run cannot be mixed in like it did last year. It has to be after every rope climb. So again, that's the only place you can put it. So rearrange your course so that everything's tight and close together, except for your rope climb has to be a 100-foot run from rope back to the quintuple steps. All right, that concludes the entire course. If you have any questions, again, we'll be emailing or sending all the specific details to every gym who's participating. So you will have to get to find a gym that is participating, and they'll have a list of all the real specific rules. That concludes the rules and details for the World Ninja Athlete Games 2022. Thank you.